Welcome to Nalf's Nonsense. Now, if you're to go online and try and book a flight from New York City to Frankfurt, the flight time for a nonstop flight is about 7 hours and 30 minutes. But if you go and book that return flight from Frankfurt back to New York City, the flight time is 8 hours and 30 minutes. What is the deal with why it takes longer to fly west than to fly east? I first learned about this phenomenon when I went to college in the States. I live on the West Coast. I went to college on the East Coast. It would typically take like 5.5 hours to fly east back to my college and 6.5 hours to fly from my college back to Portland. Same exact distance, about an hour's difference on the flight time. When I first learned about this phenomenon, I was like, oh yeah, that kind of makes sense, because the Earth is rotating eastward, so when I'm flying west, my destination is kind of getting closer to me, and that's why it takes a shorter amount of time. This is some very elementary thinking right there, because it's not just the ground of the Earth that rotates, it's the air and the atmosphere that's rotating as well. I mean, if this were the case, you could just take off and stand in one place, and at some point you'd be at your destination. Not good science. But this phenomenon still is related to the rotation of the Earth. This is because the phenomenon of the jet stream, which is really fast, about 200 miles per hour winds up high in the air. And this phenomenon is created by the cold air, which falls, and the hot air, which rises, meeting together and creating a change in pressure. Now, the Earth's rotation causes these pressure change streams to flow eastward. And so that is what causes these very fast wind streams high up in the air. Now they change and fluctuate a little bit, but they are generally flowing from west to east. And airline pilots try and take advantage of this. They try to avoid strong jet streams in their headwind when they are flying west, and when they're flying east, they actually try to ride the jet streams to totally increase their speed. Say, for example, you are flying with a 560 mile per hour airspeed. This is the speed that the air would be moving if you stuck your hand out the plane window. This is different from ground speed, okay? So you have a 560 mile per hour airspeed, but there's a 140 mile per hour headwind from a jet stream up in the sky. Your ground speed is going to be diminished. In this case, if you have a 140 mile per hour headwind, it's going to be diminished to 420 miles across the ground. And the same goes for if the jet stream is benefiting you and it's a tailwind and you are riding this. Say your airspeed is 560 miles per hour and you've got a tailwind of 140 miles per hour, then you're really traveling across the ground at about 700 miles per hour. And this is the difference that happens when you're flying west or you're flying east. And this is why there is a disparity in flight times. Thank you for listening to my nonsense.